What's up, guys? Welcome to Information Operation. I'm Connor Ryan, and we're coming at you from Marquette, Michigan, bringing you your locally sourced ideas, thoughts, and inquiries. Today on the podcast, we feature Nat Schreiner. Nate is a good friend of mine. He was actually my first guest on Information Operation. We figured we'd do an update on what we've been up to, what Marquette's been like. It's been 100 days since we started. So, he is a software engineer, an avid bow hunter, and a Muay Thai fighter. Enjoy the podcast. Nate Schreiner,
Oh man, Connor Ryan, how you doing?
what's good with it? I'm doing great today. Happy Sunday.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day today, isn't it? Sunny?
April 8th, I believe.
Something like that.
Making some serious progress.
Oh, since the last time I've been on, well, last time me and you've just done a podcast.
Right,
What was
New
that,
Year's
four,
Eve.
4 months ago?
That was 98 days ago.
So much has changed.
How's your year been so far?
Fantastic.
Groundbreaking?
Phenomenal, yeah, really has been.
Let's do a life update. What kind of moves you making out here?
Oh man, well, after all the calamities of 2017, it's just been, man, climbing mountains, getting way better. Starting a new project. Actually, at the end of 2017, I started working with some people, and we're focused and
Computers.
something like that, as you like to
Computers.
put it, computers. Working on a platform, help a lot of people, global user base. So we're trying to get this out by the end of this year. We could go into some technical details, but we'll save it. We'll save it for now. But yes, we've been just hustling for the last 4 months, really trying to push this out. Just got a new guy on our team, business-oriented guy. He's starting to talk to some startup incubators for us and some investors. So really good shit. I'm really excited about it. Should help a lot of people. It's kind of it's a void in the market in the industry that we're targeting. So something that a lot of people are going to be able to use.
So, do you feel like fulfilled? Do you feel like satisfied?
Not yet.
Do you have,
Not yet.
do you have like a satisfaction when you see some kind of progress being made? Like,
Oh yeah, definitely. If you're not seeing those incremental wins, those small incremental W's, you're gonna get just sick things. What's the word I'm looking for? You're gonna get burned out real quick.
burned out.
You gotta have those. You gotta recognize those incremental W's. Keep you going. Keep you motivated. Keep you hungry.
But with me, it's more hands-on. Like when I'm training somebody or I'm teaching a wrestler a skill and I watch him go out and use that on the mat, I see it. It
Yep.
manifests in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
And boom, there it is. Do you get that?
Well, I don't get to see, so that's like a client. That's like seeing your user per se. You're seeing them be successful with the tools that you've given them. Unfortunately, with what we're trying to accomplish, it's not quick like that. You can't spend a week on it, or you can't spend a month on it. You can't spend 2 months on it and give it to somebody and let them have value. It's a process. It's a system. It's an engineered system that we're trying to build to to allow people to exchange assets for other money. So it's a large system and there's a lot of pitfalls in it.
Again, people talking about computers.
So
I
I
get
guess let's
lost
give them
really quick.
yeah, let's just give the listeners a real overview of what I'm doing. So big thing, cryptocurrencies and digital assets. It's a big thing nowadays. It's starting to become more popular. In 2009, the first one came about, Bitcoin. A lot of people know about it. So what me and my team are doing, we're building an exchange, a platform, a website, if you will, where anybody in the world can go to. If you're holding Bitcoin, let's say, or you're holding some other digital asset and you want to get your fiat currency, and we support all fiat currencies, so US dollar, euro, yen, everything. If you have a Bitcoin and you want to get some USD for it, you can go to our platform and we will link you up with another user who's trying to do the opposite of what you're doing. So if you're trying to sell Bitcoin, we'll find someone that's trying to buy Bitcoin and we will link you two up. We act as an escrow, so we take both parties' payments, we make sure everything happens without a problem, and then you two leave happy. So
You're a
that
middleman.
we're a middleman, exactly. We're a middleman, and we link people up. We find two parties that need help doing something, and we facilitate that.
You seem pretty stoked about it.
Well, it's a huge market. $500 billion is the digital asset market. Maybe a little under that right now.
Yeah, and there's other people doing this.
There's other people, but we have so this goes even more technical. There are other exchanges that are doing this peer-to-peer exchange,
Right,
but
but there's
not
something that makes you stand
that
out.
we have a niche in the market,
Mm-hmm.
what we're targeting.
Mm-hmm.
And what that is it's a so we're starting out, we're going to be supporting 50 plus digital assets, and that's just because of our technological architecture that we've built with smart contracts. And so the other exchanges are not supporting all those. There are a few that support that many, but they're very limited. Most most target one or two, maybe three digital assets. We're going to have a wide range of digital assets and support all fiat currencies. So we're very, we've got options to our users. Let them do what they need to do.
And are you able to like stay, I don't know, creative in what you're doing?
What do you mean?
I don't,
Stay creative. It takes
I,
creativity every day to build something like this. So
yeah.
this is high profile. And when I say that, I mean there's a lot of money being exchanged through our platform, millions of dollars.
Do you feel like you're like any significance?
Uh,
Do you
wh-
have any significance in the process?
what do you mean?
It just seems like there's a lot going on. There's a lot of money being exchanged, and Nate Schreiner is doing what to facilitate that?
Oh, so there's no money being exchanged right now. We're not live,
Okay.
but there's me and one other developer. We're building the entire thing.
Okay.
There's
So when you have a
nobody
finished product, that's when you get to see, boom, that's what I did,
exactly.
and you're stoked about it.
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a live platform because no, there's no one else is building this for us.
Mm-hmm.
We're building it, me and one other guy, and like I said, we just brought on another biz dev guy who's starting to contact investors and incubators for us to help us out. But yeah, it's solely me and my business partner, the other developer, that's building this platform.
Nate, it sounds like you're so smart. You have this intelligent, just feel. And let me ask, did you get that from college? Did you get all the
No,
tools you need from college?
no, I didn't. I did not get all the tools from college. I have a weird relationship with college.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I feel about it fully. Uh, Man, I mean, if I didn't go to college, my life would be totally different. I don't know in what aspects. I don't know in which way because internally myself has the I'm driven to succeed and do things and add value in what with whatever skill set I have, which I'm still finding. But you know, I've got my skills that I do know. But you learn and you grow. So without college, I still would have been driven to do things like that and add value. But definitely college pushed me in some way.
Yeah, and
It
put you,
directed
I
me
mean,
somehow.
without it, you being on a different path, maybe not entirely, but different
Definitely a
path.
different path.
You'd be not in Marquette, not at 906 Technology, not working on this current project.
Yeah, probably not.
So I don't think there's any mistakes in life.
There's yeah, we've had this conversation plenty.
Oh, really? You
Oh,
think there's
there's,
mistakes?
I think there's mistakes. Now, I'm not saying you don't like mistakes are terrible because you do learn, hopefully. Hopefully you learn from mistakes.
Hopefully, it's
Some people
almost,
don't. Some people don't learn from mistakes. That's
that's
the
the point.
unfortunate truth.
They repeat it until they
Yep.
do learn.
Yep.
So there's fast learners and there's slow learners, but I think you always learn. You really start to learn when you learn to embrace those failures. You embrace your pain. You embrace that suffering as your friend, as your teacher. And you move on from it because you know it's going to give you values, treasures that money cannot buy.
Yep.
It's going to give you things
The
that are
adversity.
irreplaceable,
Give you
lessons.
character. Yeah.
Yeah. So how is that a mistake? It's perfect.
Yeah. Well, glass half full, I guess. Yeah, it's great, but I mean, that's on a macro level.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean by that?
That's broad. That's general.
Yes, but on a micro level, there are 100% mistakes. You can make mistakes on a micro level. In a macro level, speaking of your entirety of life, sure, there's no
But
mistakes.
don't you learn from everyone? Oh, well, why not? Why not think of your whole life?
There's a time and place to do both. You can't just look at it at a macro level. You can't look at your life at a macro level, or else you're not as efficient. That's my personal belief. If you're trying to start a business and you're simply looking at a macro level,
On a general.
you're gonna disregard clients, you're gonna disregard business practices, maybe disregard employees because you're always looking at the future. You're not looking at the micro of adding value in this moment.
Well, right. What would you say that now is? Because the only real time is now. So, would you say that that's looking at it from a macro perspective or a micro perspective?
What? Just looking at now?
Yeah. Because you think you're just a manifestation of everything that you've ever done right now. The only real time is right now. So, is there really any other way to look at it
I guess
when it
I'm.
comes to mistakes?
Yes. Yes, I do feel. Yeah, there's two ways of looking at it, like we just discussed.
Fine.
There's definitely two ways of looking at it. So, if you're turning, I don't really have a good example, so I'll try here. If we'll go off the business topics. We're both interested in businesses and startups.
Hmm.
So if you make a critical decision on infrastructure, and I'm gonna go with tech because, and hopefully,
It's
hopefully you're,
applicable for you.
yeah,
I'll try to
hopefully.
follow.
So if you make an architectural decision right now at this moment, me and you are starting a company and we're designing a system. So what I mean is we're building something to do something else, and we make a decision right here, and we go 10 years down the line and we're deploying the system to users, and we find out that that decision we made
Hmm.
was a led to hackers stealing our money from our
Hmm.
clients. That's a mistake, right?
Really?
What?
You wouldn't have known that otherwise. You wouldn't have known that otherwise.
So this is where I'm going. So now we have just lost, we'll say, millions of dollars to our clients who are obviously pissed as fuck at us, and
Okay.
we have problems. Now the government's after us because we just lost people's money. There's two ways of looking at this. Yes, that was awful because now you were responsible for fucking a lot of people that you had their trust, you just
Yeah.
lost
You
their
broke it.
trust.
Okay.
How do you argue that's a bad thing? It's hard to argue that that's a bad thing. Now, on the other side of the same coin, you now know you can look back on that mistake and say, okay, we're never doing that again and we can move forward from this. But as soon as you lost people's trust that gave you their trust, that's a huge issue.
I agree.
That's a huge
I
issue.
agree. But if you're thinking about it from a money standpoint, there could always be the fact that maybe you had a little bit too much, maybe you had a little bit too much power, a little bit too much ego fueling whatever it is that you're doing. And you needed to just take a little reality check from life.
Well, that example I laid out wasn't totally aimed at the money. It was a simple principle
And the
of
trust.
trust.
Yeah, the
A
trust, I
sim
get that.
and it wasn't. I mean, there are mistakes like that all the time that you hear about, and it's not an issue of them.
Yeah, but how you move forward from that is kind of how you define your company. Are you going to go reimburse all those people, or are you just going to leave them hang
Like,
out to dry?
what if you don't have the money?
Well, then you are in
You made a huge
trouble.
mistake.
That could be
You made a
quantified
huge
as a mistake.
mistake.
I
And there are
like,
companies out there that do that. They go bankrupt because they now are in debt to clients or investors, and because of some faulty business move that they made or some technical mistake they made, they're out of business, they have no money, and they physically cannot repay.
mhm.
Like they wish they could, they physically can't. So yes, they learned, but at the same time, they really fucked up. So there's two ways of looking at that, I feel.
I
And you
agree.
learn, like I said, you learn from all mistakes, but there are definite mistakes in life.
But I trust that path. I trust the path that no matter, that you're gonna ride the waves. You're gonna have ups and downs,
Well,
and
you
you
gotta
gotta trust
grow,
that.
even if you do a
You
fatal
can't just
failure.
hope.
Yeah, even if you are part of a fatal failure, you have to grow. You can't dwell on it. You have to learn and you have to grow from it.
Yeah, you embrace it. Like I was saying, embrace it as your teacher.
Yep.
Really, it's gonna teach you things that you never would expect.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so
That's a very powerful way of learning too.
it's real. It's real to you,
Yeah.
and you're gonna feel it.
Oh yeah.
On a low-key side note, Nate's got a fight coming up. He's just casually training for a fight. What's going on?
Casually. Not very
You
casually.
don't ever talk about it, really? You got 2 weeks to go. Like what, 10 days?
nah,
Like 10 days out?
that's not guaranteed, and
Oh,
it's
okay.
the chances are looking slimmer and slimmer.
Still
But
running though, yeah.
June. Oh yeah, 'cause right now I'm totally focused on June.
Gotcha.
I'm kind of over April. I don't think we're gonna fight.
That's a bummer.
I'll be ready if we can, but Yep, still running. Went for a run today, hitting hill sprints, becoming best friends with Fifth Street Hill.
That's a gnarly steep hill.
That's a gnarly hill.
That's
That
interval
kills me.
training though. That's going to be more effective than running just distance. You
Oh
can get a
yeah.
lot more out of those high intensity intervals. Just getting up a hill
I was
and
reading
pumping
though
your arms.
something super interesting I never thought about. So long distance running, I was reading a Muay Thai blog, and they were talking about the benefits of longer distance running.
Uh-huh.
And they're talking about the impact that running has, the repetitive impact. It actually is solidifying your bones and making them denser. Which, if you think about it, you need some dense bones for Muay Thai. Think about your shins.
I somewhat agree with that, but it doesn't talk about the joints, does it?
Nope, it doesn't.
Because the joints, that's where the impact really takes its toll, is on the joints.
So how do you feel? Are you for or against running?
It depends on your form, I think. If you're
Yeah.
heel striking, like we've been taught to with our stupid heel shoes with the big heels on them, you've seen the running
Oh
shoes.
yeah.
You don't want to run striking your heel. That puts all the impact on your knee. If you run midfoot, you're landing on the ball of your foot. That's basically your calf is a shock absorber. That's how it's meant to land. If you're landing on the midfoot or towards the ball of the foot, then you're going to actually use and engage your calf as a shock absorber
Mm-hmm.
rather than heel strike and putting all that, tension on the patellar tendon.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So if you're running right, it's great. And you got to take your time with it. You got to allow your Achilles tendon, your calves to catch up.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to be blowing your shit out.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you
Yep.
go out and I'm going to run 5 miles today, good luck, man. If you haven't been running for the last 2 weeks, building that up, no way.
Yeah, definitely gotta
But dude, I'm
can't push it.
stoked for this summer because I can't really run on a treadmill, and I
Oh
haven't
man,
at
I haven't.
all
It's
this
been
winter.
years since I've run on one of those. Those
So
things suck.
jiu-jitsu's been my main source of cardio over the winter time, and then going into the summer, I'm going to be doing a lot of
Some
long distance
swimming.
swims,
Yeah.
and I'd like to do like high intensity hill running or trail running, just because the high intensity stuff, if you're taking the right amount of breaks and then your intensity is where it needs to be, it's much more effective than long distance running for your muscles.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And I'll get the cardiorespiratory out of my swimming
Yep.
because that's way
I'd
more
like to get
effective.
some flippers because, as you
I
know,
have flippers, but I ain't no
suck.
bitch.
I suck at swimming.
Yeah,
I sink like a rock. So flippers would really help me.
yeah, and you can keep up maybe.
Doubtful, but hey, I could try.
It's sick though. You know what makes the main difference with swimming is goggles.
Yeah. I
Seriously,
mean,
it's a fucking world of difference.
goggles don't do shit for you when you have no form to swim and you sink. I
I
have
don't
no
even know.
form.
Well, where did I learn form? I think you're just kind of like innately able to swim.
No.
Yeah.
Some people literally can't swim. Like
Yeah,
I can
and then
swim, but some
there's
people can't.
swimmers, like
Yeah.
swimmers,
Yeah.
like miles, like 100 meters in seconds.
That's crazy.
I can't even comprehend.
But
They're built
back to
differently.
the summer, I'm gonna be running hogback a lot.
I am not.
Oh, what?
I don't know. I don't like that trail. I like running in pines under the shade. I like
Oh, you get hogback, you get down into that basin area,
the
cools
basin.
off a little bit in the
The
pines.
basin's sick, and the ground is soft. That's what I'm really looking for, is soft ground. I got these trail running shoes. It looks like a mountain bike tread on the bottom.
So what trails you gonna be running?
I like over by Tourist Park and those pines. I like you're saying, in that basin, but not so much the rocky shit towards the top of the mountain. Kind of bums
It's
me out a
fun.
little bit. Yeah, it's fun. It's rough on the joints, I gotta say. I'm really trying to be as efficient as possible. I'm not really worried about beating the shit out of my body this summer, but I'm gonna have more time to train than ever. Last summer I was pretty wrapped up working at the gym, like
Yeah, you
6 days
kind of
a week.
you got a little soft last summer, didn't you?
I was lifting every day. I got my deadlift at 325 or something like that. No,
Okay,
I didn't get
okay,
soft. I was
maybe not
just lifting
soft.
heavy. But I am gonna do kettlebells outdoors this summer. That's
There
gonna
you
be my
go.
lifting this year.
On the beach,
On the beach,
hit a little swim after.
doing jumps, doing sprints, doing kettlebells,
Oh
doing
man, one of the most crazy workouts we had at Muay Thai. We went down to the beach, and I don't even know what all we
I
did,
think I
but
showed up.
did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you might have. We were
And
hitting sand sprints. Oh,
dude, sand
blew
sprints,
me out.
and then Dan was having you go under the
Oh,
water
you
as
were
long
there.
as you
You were there.
can.
Yep.
Trying to go
Yep.
underwater as long as you can, swimming as far as you can,
Yeah,
holding your
dude.
breath. That's
That
just a
workout.
mental battle. Just wanting to
That's what
come
you
up for air,
need.
wanting to come up for air.
Yeah. Gotta fight it.
And your
Fight your
and
mind.
your body's telling you to come up. Your mind's starting to tell you to come up. And you're just like fighting it with all that you got.
Gotta
That
have,
was
man.
gnarly.
Mental toughness, so important in life, in
I
sports.
think that's such a cool group too, because you have people there pushing you, and it's
The competition.
the competition,
You know,
like
like
having
me
Kale
and
there.
Kale.
Yeah,
It's just
dude.
like
Like,
we're trying to beat each other at everything.
yeah, it's a different,
We
it's
don't
different
lose.
than just going out with like by yourself,
Oh yeah,
in a big way.
yeah, man.
And then it's not just you and Kale either. You got a
Oh yeah,
coach watching you.
yeah. We got Dan riding his pedal bike, making sure we're keeping up on our runs.
No, those fights were gnarly yesterday too.
Yeah, it was
Khabib
good fights.
Nurmagomedov. You must.
You will lose.
You must. I love that.
That's
Okay,
great.
he was talking shit during the fight. He was
That
fighting
was they
somebody
both were talking.
for the belt,
Yeah.
for
5 round, 25 minute, all out grueling fight.
and he's talking shit. He's
He's got
sitting,
enough time to think of what he's gonna say to this guy that's trying to take his head off.
you will lose. You must give up. It'll make your face
That's
inside.
crazy.
Yeah, dude.
That was a fun time. Where who was talking about it? Like 25 minutes, you're gonna get bored in there. You're gonna have to think of some lines.
Well, he's just so technical with his takedowns. I
Yeah.
really wish I would have, or we would have been able to see him fight McGregor. That would have been more of a matchup.
His striking really is not. It's not ideal.
No.
Like if he goes against an elite striker, he might have some issues.
Hmm.
Man,
Would you ever want to go to Russia?
yeah, I'd like to check it out.
Really? What would you do
Yeah.
there?
I don't know. I don't know what there is to do in Russia. I'd go check out some of the mountains probably. Go do some training.
There's some like
I re-
really gnarly mountains. Siberia.
Yeah.
That's like desolation though.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've heard a story, and I'm pretty sure this is true. I think I told you about this. That village that got surrounded by wolves up in Russia, up in
Tell me the story again.
nothing's up there, right? It's
Yeah.
just desolate, and so two packs of wolves couldn't find food, so they joined up and they came into a village and they started looking for food, surrounded a village, and people were dying from wolves up in Russia.
That shit happens in India too with tigers.
No, they don't team up.
They don't team up.
A pack of
You've
tigers.
seen that though, like in pictures you see National Geographic, like 6 tigers walking next to each other.
I don't know if
Yeah.
I have.
Dude,
Have I?
they team up.
Do they?
They team
God,
up.
one tiger's fucking enough.
It's a walking army.
Right? You don't fuck with a pack of tigers.
And they're kind of the same way in India too, because they have those towns kind of like out in the middle of nowhere in the
Yeah.
jungle. It's not, Siberia, but it's the jungle and it's tigers.
It's sure not America with your city and your police running around.
We got it made pretty safe here.
We do have it made. We really have it made.
That's why it's hard to be like, that's why it's hard to complain ever. I really can't agree with people who complain about what's
No,
going
man.
on. Like,
They
oh
really have no
man,
perspective. It comes down to perspective, I feel, and they have none. If they're sitting there complaining,
about this?
yeah.
We got food in the belly, air in the lungs.
All they have to do is get in their fucking motorized vehicle, drive down to the store, get an ice cream, and go back and throw on the TV.
I was at the grocery
That's what they're
store.
into.
I was at the grocery store the other day, and I was telling this guy like, I'm happy today. I'm just grateful I got to come here, get my groceries. All I had to do was walk down the aisle, put it in the cart. Can you imagine having to just kill a cow, like cut his head off, cut him up into little pieces, and like that's all you get is beef out of that? And then you have to do the same thing, like pick your vegetables out of the ground, and like I was like, thank you. You're making my life very easy right now.
What do you have to say about that?
He was actually intrigued. He was smiling. He was a big, like 6'5" dude, looking at me like, "What is this kid even talking about?" But
It's the truth, though.
we got it made, man. People, complaining about not having enough likes on Instagram or
Yeah, that's crazy.
not having enough money.
Yeah,
If you got enough money to eat, you got enough money to dream.
it's crazy. Blows my mind.
But what do you think? Why don't you think you're a complainer? What makes you not a complainer, Nate?
What makes me not a complainer?
It's a great way to ask a question.
Just got too much going on. Well, I don't got time to complain. I got things to do and complaining does not add value to those goals.
Yeah.
That's what
What's
it's all about. I mean,
what really innately sets you apart? You think it's something in your nature, your genetic code, or your nurture, like your upbringing and your schooling and
I
your
think it's in my nature. I don't think it's really in my it's definitely both.
a
You're a
little bit of
product of
both.
both, but I think a lot of it is in my nature.
Always, like always been that way.
Yeah. Steadfast, just really motivated and ready to do what I believe in,
Mm-hmm.
not really looking at other people's opinions and saying, "Okay, oh, should I do this? Should I do this?"
Influenced, but
Yeah,
not heavily
yeah,
influenced.
exactly.
That's healthy. I've always been like 110%. I just pick something, I lock onto it, and I'm like
Yep.
110%.
Yep.
That's where I'm at with yoga right now.
Yeah.
On
Yeah,
Tuesday will be
right?
100 days.
Yeah, that's crazy. Every
Tuesday will be
day.
100 days straight
Some discipline.
since January 1st.
Yep.
Started that shit. So
And how long you going for? Till June
till
sometime?
that'll be 160. So I'm
Wow.
I'm like 2/3 of the way there.
Right
And
on.
that'll be teacher training. For teacher training, we go to a studio and we spend 12 hours a day there for 7 days doing yoga, assisting, teaching, um, self-excavating questions,
Sit in a little round
talking about
table, talk about
feelings.
your feelings.
No,
You've been on a little rut with that.
it's a
You haven't had your feelings group in a while.
I know.
You're
I
gonna be
know. So what Nate's talking about is a 40 days to personal revolution, and that was a program that we did through Tulivesi, and it was literally life-changing in a lot of ways. It made me think about things, pertaining to myself that I had never really even considered. It was um, it was definitely valuable beyond what I gave it credit when I first went into it. Just I don't know, thinking about your values, thinking about your real truth. I know you love truth. Truth and potential are great things. If you can kind of wrap your head around it, because truth is your strengths and your weaknesses. It's not just what you're good at, it's what you're bad at, it's where your shortcomings are. And if you can kind of like get to a common understanding with yourself, find that peace. Yeah, it was something else. That's what I'm getting nerded out about
yeah,
lately
yeah. That's
in a big
that and
way.
yoga.
Well, it's all encompassing.
Yeah,
Like
no, I
you
see
really
that.
you can't just practice yoga and get the most out of it. You gotta practice yoga. You have to meditate and
It just goes together. It's like a little package.
you have to do
You
self-inquiry.
can't open the package and
Self
take pieces out.
self-inquiry is really, really important. Because it is a pursuit. It's a personal pursuit. It's a journey. Um, you really have to help yourself before you can help anybody else.
Yeah, no doubt.
You can't be you have these doubts and have this fear and really have a community. You have to kind of let that go before you can help the community.
Yeah, you got to figure out where your skills are, where you can add the most value
Yeah.
to a to a group.
I think the biggest revolution that I've had through that so far was the confidence thing, because I really was confident in what I was doing with the status that I had as a trainer, as a academic, um, as a person. I thought I was, well-rounded, skilled, talented, and I was really confident in that thought, in the ego part of it.
Hmm.
I was really confident in who I thought I was. But like I was saying about the truth, I wasn't really embracing my weaknesses, and we all have them. Mine include judgment. Mine include being thinking that I'm invincible, thinking that maybe I'm better than other people. And once I was able to like look at that and embrace it, then I could really be confident in my authenticity, rather than being confident in this, made up person that I had an idea of.
Yeah. Yep, kind of the person you made yourself out to be kind of deal in your
Yeah,
mind.
because ego is just perception of self.
Yep.
And
You can definitely
I
change.
was confident in that perception,
Yeah.
not in the real,
Mm-hmm.
the real
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
So in that way, I hope I can kind of like pass that along to other people, especially males, because I think that's a huge issue
You get
with,
lost in the ego a lot.
well, guys, yeah, you can't cry. You got to be tough. You can't, talk about feelings. It's like unheard of. You're not supposed to.
Mm.
It's like it's our culture not to get too wrapped up in that. That's what girls do or whatever. That's just prejudice. That's just really, we're all people.
Yeah, we're all
We're
humans.
all people, really. And even big tough guys have feelings.
I had to take a piss, honestly.
Oh, dude,
Okay.
your idea of fun.
My idea of
And
fun.
yeah, and I asked somebody today, what do you do for fun? And they were like, that's a hard question. It's like, not really. And then we started talking about this person I used to wrestle with back in the day. And they know this person and they're like, man, yeah, he's a lot of fun. And I was like, well, he is a real athlete. He has a lot of potential as an athlete. He's a good wrestler. And I'm kind of disappointed that he's just all about partying. And
The fun guy.
they were just like, yeah, they're just like, oh yeah, he parties all the time. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. But he has a lot of potential. And they're like, well, you got to do that while you're young. You can only do this once. You can only have this chance once to be in college and be able to, party. And I said, well, I didn't say this, but I wanted to. I didn't want to make her feel bad. I was like, dude, you only get this chance once. Listen to what you're saying. You are in the prime of your life. You are 20 years old. You're never going to have that body back. You're never going to have that athleticism back. You're never going to have your mindset, your hormones just the way they are back ever. You're in the prime time of your life. You're going to spend it drinking every weekend, every night.
Yeah, man, that's a lot of people do that, and it blows my mind. But at the same time, you did you go through a phase like that ever?
Well, absolutely. I mean, you have to learn somehow that that's maybe not the right way, but there's fast learners and there's slow learners, like we were saying.
Yeah, and I mean, the physical side of things is only part of the game. It's only
Yeah,
part. The mental part is a whole nother side. You,
that
you got to
apps.
have the goals, or you got to have the drive that you want to use your physical potential, if you will.
Right,
You want to use your physical potential to get you somewhere.
right.
And I think when people are young, I know it used to be the case when I was in high school, you didn't necessarily have those goals, the same goals that you have when you
Mm-hmm.
grow up a little bit. Like
Mm-hmm.
your goal was to have fun, and you just have to, yeah, you got to hope that those years will go by fast, or you don't spend too much time in them. You know what I'm saying? You don't dedicate 7 years to just partying, you start in high school and you just go through your college career straight partying every weekend. You gotta hope that you're gonna at some point wake up and have the drive to actually create lasting value.
Right, but why not start now?
You gotta learn, like you said.
Yeah,
You gotta get the mind game right. You gotta have the goals to actually want to have that lasting value or do something awesome.
yeah. It just baffled me when they were like, well, they were just rationalizing it and just like, oh, well, he's young. It's the time for
Yeah,
that.
that is tough. That's what a lot of people go to is they start to
They
rationalize it with, well,
rationalize it being
they're young.
you're young,
But that's the truth at the
that,
same
that's
time.
expected.
It isn't the truth. You're not as smart as you were. Like when I was in high school, I was not nearly as in tune with myself and in
Right,
tune with the realities of life.
right.
So it's a tough thing to
And I
talk.
think there's those stages and they happen throughout life over and over and over because you're going to reach a stage, once you get past the partying and you're on a mission now you've got a goal in front of you. Now that's going to take years to accomplish. Now let's say you accomplish that goal.
Oh,
You're now 30 years old. Now do you get comfortable? Do you get comfortable and just say, hey, hang your hat on that? I'm making, a good amount of money at my job, and I'm doing fine. I'm gonna settle down. I'm gonna start having kids. I'm gonna, that's a whole new goal. That's a whole new aspect. You start
But it
having
fits.
kids.
It fits into the prior decade of your same life. So it's powerful that we can recognize that. A lot of people can't recognize that, but it replays itself over and over throughout your life.
Right.
But that's power in your hand that you can recognize that. And so hopefully when you get to that stage, when you've accomplished some goal you've worked years for, that you can recognize, okay, I've done that. What's the next
Wait,
thing?
what's
What's
next? That's
next?
a big question to
Exactly.
ask because to get comfortable and just stagnate because you're proud of yourself, or, I mean, I,
Comfort,
like,
man. You
it's really
can't get
dangerous. It's really dangerous. Like I said, this kid was a talented wrestler, and I think he somehow, like, I think people somehow hang their hat on high school. Like, people who are studs in high school, like the
Oh
quarterback,
man,
you know what I
that's
mean? They like to say, "Hey, man, I did my job," and now they're in college. It's time to.
I've talked to a few people that'll they just live, they get a high off their high school
Dude, my
days.
parents talk about that. People
That's
who are 50 years old still
that's
talking about their high school days.
You should be at 50 years old, you should still be talking about next week.
Yes,
You should be
exactly.
talking about next month. You know
Exactly.
what's happening next month?
It's big. It's
Yeah,
breaking
man.
it's breaking new ground. It's cutting edge.
It's like a roller coaster. I feel some people they reach the peak and they think they have to come back down. You can still keep climbing. You can still accomplish things, but a lot of people they feel like they hit their peak and now they're ready to just get comfortable for the rest of their life and coast out life.
That's
That
dangerous.
sounds, yeah, but maybe some people just love that.
Yeah.
Maybe some people really they are happy with that. I couldn't be. I don't think I would be. I mean, I'm only 23 years old, so I can't speak for my 40-year-old self, but knowing me, probably that probably won't happen to me.
I don't know why, but I feel like sometimes it's like you get a look into a small idea like this, and it expands depending on how well you can conceptualize it. And with the whole partying thing, I don't know why at 21 that I can't do this. I can't do this. It's not right. And with the like I was saying with the authenticity, um, you can't go do something that you don't believe in and then try to do something that you do believe in. It's just not gonna work. It's you know what
Yeah, cause your mind in the mental game is such a huge part of
you're gonna have that like drawing you back. You're
yep.
gonna have you're gonna have
Yeah,
that thought in the back of your head like, oh, I'm not really practicing
Yeah,
what I'm preaching right
if your
now.
mind's not in whatever you're doing, that could be a wide range of things. You're gonna do it half-assed. You're not really gonna be doing it. And when someone like you and me are doing something half-assed, you realize there's no point in doing this. If you're not gonna put your all into it, why are you doing it?
All right.
And then you start thinking about that, and that's when you're like, oh, okay, we're not gonna do this. We're gonna actually go do something that my mind believes in, that my mind's ready to do. That's we don't just go through the motions.
Right, but at the same time, I do think it's important to know your limits.
Yeah,
I think it's always important to know your limits
yeah, yeah,
because
definitely.
if you're playing the game, you should be playing to win, and you can't always win if you're,
Gotta take some L's.
creating expectations that you can't fulfill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, no doubt.
If you're
Can't
like,
lie to yourself.
yeah,
You gotta push yourself, but you gotta be truthful at the same time.
mm-hmm.
You know?
I think the only pleasure that's worthwhile is prolonged, and it's earned. It's like when you have an Amazon order and you get that, 1 day shipping and it gets there the next day. It's like, oh, I got my shit. Here we go. But if you get that 7 day shipping,
Ah,
you
wait,
just get that package
you
and you're
think
like,
you
holy shit, this is what I've been waiting for. My whole life has led up to this moment.
and then what happens after a week?
You know, you know what happens. But that earned pleasure is just like it's so much. It's worth
Yeah,
more to you.
the only things worth doing, they take effort,
Hmm. And they
Nothing
take
worth doing,
time.
nothing worth doing is
They take
easy.
time. How does an ant devour the tiger?
Piece by piece.
One piece at a time.
Yeah, they'd be on to the next tiger if they just could Jesus.
ruining my studio. By the way, the podcast has
Is
been
moving.
super
Oh,
interesting.
thought you were gonna tell your podcast is that it's moving.
Well, it is moving. This is episode 10.
What? This
We've
is
been
10, huh? That's what I want to
This
get
is
into.
episode 10. So
Okay.
we have been doing this since January, like I said, and it's not even the podcast thing. It's not even the 10 episodes. It's more so the time that this has taken and the twists and
Off
turns.
air, kind of the off air stuff, the
Yeah.
requirements. Yeah, I want to talk about that. I had a couple questions for you about that. Guess we'll get into it now that we're on the
Shoot.
topic.
Shoot.
So, podcasting, I know you've been liking it. So, 100 days in, you got 10 episodes. You like it, yeah?
I love it.
Awesome.
I think it's awesome.
What are the pros and cons to it?
I would say the pros are being able to talk to interesting people,
Yeah,
right?
like
Just
myself.
no.
Oh no, okay. Okay,
Yeah,
carry
yeah,
on.
yeah, like you and all the professors and all the um the mentors in my life.
Yeah.
Bodega was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Um Nick, Connor, Lori, you're talking about jujitsu, talking about yoga, talking about education, talking about
Yeah.
history, talking about science. This is my education,
Yeah.
right? I'm not going to school right now. I study yoga right now. I'm a student to that craft, and I study people and conversation. Getting to know my community, getting to know the people around me that I admire, that I respect, getting a little more into what motivates them, because I can admit I'm young and I have a lot to learn, and hopefully I can learn through the eyes of the people that I admire, and I can get a real look into what makes them tick. That's a pro. When it comes to cons, I've had to definitely make some mistakes. Episode 3 was kind of a disaster. I had, I mean, great guest. Scott Drum is one of the most influential professors of my education at Northern. Incredible, just
Is
intellectual
he an
person.
engineer or what does he teach?
He teaches sports science, but I
Okay.
was sitting here like boom, 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 like asking questions. Like
Interview
it
style.
was so formatted and so rigid that he was just like, dude, I'm exhausted. I can't just keep answering these questions with genuine answers. And I was just like, well, I got to learn from this. And soon I made it so that was actually episode 4. I was mistaken. But I made it so, look, I go into this with 5 questions, a few, key points I want to hit, and then the rest just flows because I want it to be organic.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want it to be organic. And
Mm-hmm.
this whole podcast thing, it will be an evolution. And hopefully, when you look back on 10 years of podcasts, I can see, a real revolution in myself, and I can look back at the things I learned and the things that I thought and the things that I talked about and be like, it just kind of puts it into perspective.
Oh yeah.
Just like this last 100 days, I've never looked at a 100-day chunk of time and been like, wow, look at what has come from this. Look at
Yeah.
how far we've come. Um, that's kind of the cool thing
That's good
about this
self-reflection,
podcast.
and that's what's cool about this podcast is you'll always have this archive.
Yeah,
So you can always look at that.
and I'm not really doing it so people listen to it. I'm doing it so I can learn from people.
Yeah,
And I
no
can
doubt.
and I can help the community.
Hmm.
Like having Alex Rowland on from Superior Culture. He is such an interesting dude, and he has so much knowledge on kombucha. And that might not sound like the most interesting thing in the world, but he was able to tell people what makes his company what it is, and what he knows about the science it's
Yeah, that's cool because
incredible.
I know a lot of people in Marquette really like kombucha, so that's probably an awesome outlet
Right.
for a
And not
company
only
like
that,
that.
that's a perfect example of how many interesting people there are in Marquette. And
Yeah,
I continue to run across them, and I can't wait to see what
what
is in
comes next?
store for
Yeah,
this.
no doubt.
Information operation is just kind of a way for me to learn and share.
Yeah, yeah.
Learn and share what I learned.
Hmm.
That's pretty much the whole premise.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's it's interesting the forms of media, you know?
Well, the cool thing about the podcast is they're getting it from my mouth, like literally, or from my mind. There's no medium. There's no like production team like telling me what I should and shouldn't say. There's no like producers telling me, hey, this will be funny. Hey, your ratings are down. Hey, your viewers are not up. I can look at YouTube Insights, but I'm not really worried about it, and I don't have anyone controlling what I say.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm going with that is back in the day, like there wasn't any of that. If you wanted to get some kind of message out, you had to go
You
contact the
had to go through
producer
media
and you had to make sure
production.
your ratings were good.
Media production. I go to Amazon on what was it? What was it? Cyber Monday. On Cyber Monday, I go on Amazon. I order a soundboard and 3 microphones, and here we are, 10 episodes deep on a podcast.
Yeah, man. This world,
It's
like
so
going back
simple.
to it, this world we live in is fucking amazing right now. In this day and age, what the opportunities that we have and all the things we can do,
It's
it's
just incredible.
wonderful.
If I want to broadcast ideas, that's all I have to do is have, 300-400 bucks.
Yeah.
I can earn that in a few weeks.
And really, if you really want to break it down, you got a microphone on your phone that all of us have in our pockets.
Yeah.
At least now, you invested in some good mics and a soundboard, so this quality's damn
Well,
good.
I was hoping that this could, carry us into the point where, I don't know, until I have my own facility and
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
like a big production. I don't
I
know, but
started a, new podcast today,
hmm
History on Fire.
I heard great things last
Have
night
you heard?
from Mr. Brian.
Yeah, yeah. Have you listened to any of them?
No, but when I did listen to that on Joe Rogan, I was super intrigued by
Yeah,
it.
man, that's crazy. It's crazy stuff. And he touches like I'm not a big history guy,
Yeah,
but what's his name? Daniel? Is that his name?
yeah,
Maybe. I'm not sure. He touches on all the points of history I want to hear about, like gnarly expeditions into the
yeah.
Amazon, battles that have happened with Native Americans, the gladiators of ancient Rome. Like that's all the parts of history that I really like.
Why? What sparks you on that? Because I don't know. I guess I get really fired up by like innovation and people conquering different and new revolutions based on technology, based on it's all based around technology, I guess, because you think about it like a rock connected to a stick to make a hammer or fire, that was technology back then.
Oh yeah.
That
Yep.
was technology. So the innovation of human, of the
The
human
human
mind
society, yeah.
and the human condition, it's so interesting to me. But I,
Smartest people on the planet.
the
Smartest things on the planet.
the wars, I just like to look into how that shaped us and how that shaped our perspective. And
I mean, war itself is what drives a lot of
it's crazy.
advancements. I mean,
And when we talked to Chet, it was just interesting to hear his point of view on how this is basically we are our heritage. We are a reflection of what's happened, and now we get to choose. We're like in between the past and the future, so now we get to choose what happens next. It's kind of in our hands.
yeah.
All of us as individuals, it's in
Yeah.
our hands.
Yeah, that's what drives me to technology so much. You know, I'm a very like active person. I train Muay Thai. I love hunting out west. I love it, like excursions, expeditions in the wild, being as remote as possible. But at the end of the day, I love shaping technology
That's
in
so
in
weird.
building things that
So
people because in 10 years everything's going to be technology.
so virtual reality hikes. So all your expeditions are just going to be through a VR headset.
Couldn't even tell you. I mean, technology advances so fast. I have
It's
no idea what it's going to look like, but
plug
I
in.
alls I know is it's going to be all around us. And
Dude,
so
you know what movie fires me up is The Matrix.
I don't think I've seen a full one.
You need to watch the full Matrix. Just the first one. They plug their brains into the back of this machine and they go into this world where you're trying to
Oh, yeah, yeah, I've
complete
seen that. That's
some
nuts.
kind of just futuristic. It was nuts.
I mean, that might so there's I read an article.
That's sci-fi.
Yeah, no, this is not sci-fi. There's I forget what university they're coming out of. Maybe Stanford. It might be Stanford. I don't know. One of the renowned tech universities. They
Why don't
started a
you?
company.
Okay, continue the story. Entertain the people.
So they started a company, and What they do is they will download your brain, all your memories and everything in your brain, but it's fatal. So you can get everything downloaded, and their explanation is that once they have this data that's downloaded from your mind, in the future they could possibly turn it into a clone of you or a robotic you that acts the same, thinks the same as you because it is your brain. The only downside to this is it is fatal in every sense of the term. You do die after they download the data.
It's the only drawback to these podcasts. Bathroom,
Yeah,
drinking
man.
coffee. I love Dead River coffee,
It's the best out here.
and
You
it's
know, though, Henry has me really intrigued on one of the contrast blends, and
I know.
I'm going to
Did you
try
write it
that.
down?
No, but once I see it, I'll know.
Okay. I
So,
like contrast. I haven't really experienced a lot of their blends. It's mostly just the same black coffee that they have on tap. But I will try to buy like a pound of it. But Dead River Harbor Girl has got me hooked.
espresso blend.
It's hard to get off of that. What are you taking selfies over there?
No, nothing. After I brought that up, that fatal brain downloading, I had to go look it up and figure out what company it was.
So the brain downloading. One thing I wanted to ask you was you started talking about expeditions. Favorite places in the world and why?
Oh man, in the world, I can't even accurately describe that because I haven't even been overseas yet.
Okay, let me narrow it down. What is your obsession with Thailand? I don't get it.
From my just absolute love of Muay Thai, I probably wouldn't be as interested.
Purely? Because you've been doing research lately. You send me shit on like just like street views from Google Maps
I
and
mean,
Thailand. I'm like,
oh,
what is this?
dude, I love fucking Google Maps, their street view. I mean, for real, you can drop a pin down in Africa
It's nuts.
and see a
That's
street view of a
nuts.
goddamn village in Africa.
Yeah.
Oh, and you're seeing people. You're seeing people.
People, cars, whatever it may be.
I love Google Maps Street View.
That's scary because you might be on Google Maps,
Could.
just walking down the street,
Yeah.
doing something maybe you shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, but I think that's the least of your worries. I mean,
Dude, I think they've caught people for crimes on Google Maps.
well, they do use the GPS off your phone that connects to Google Maps, and
Yeah.
I mean, they catch people all the time.
But you can go on YouTube and look up like people doing crazy shit on Google Maps. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
Dude,
There's YouTube videos
there's
of that?
YouTube videos of people
Oh
doing
my
crazy
God.
shit like dumpster diving on Google Maps
Oh
and
my
doing like
God.
crazy shit like getting hit by a car
That's
on Google
crazy.
Maps. Like they caught it from the satellite picture that they took.
So that company I was talking about, it's out of MIT, not Stanford.
Okay.
It's called it is called Necdome.
And they're actually working on downloading
Yep.
consciousness?
Yep.
Wow. How far out?
Digitally, they call it
Five? No, 10.
digitally immortal through suicide. So their whole selling point is they will download your brain and all your memories, everything in your brain, with the hopes that one day they can clone you into or like a robotic you, and it'll act the same
Right.
because it's your brain.
Yeah.
That's the selling point, but it's 100% fatal.
So you have to die
You have to die, but
to use the product.
you can come back later in life as a
Will
robot.
you remember? You'll remember, won't you?
I don't know,
Yes,
man.
yes, it's stored in your
I
memory
don't.
banks.
Yeah,
It's stored
man.
that, hey, I'm gonna do this.
I
I'm
guess
gonna
that
kill
dep-
myself. That's in your memory banks.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is what I decided to do. This is me signing the contract.
Yeah.
And then you go to the hospital or wherever
that's
they
it.
take you. You remember signing the contract. You remember that.
But that also comes down to how good the technology is.
Right. You
Do they
come
get
back and you're
every
just
bit of your
like-
brain?
You're just like halfway alive. Like, I think
Can
I
you believe that
remember.
that's an actual company? That is an actual incorporated company.
With a lot of
Necdome.
investors, a lot of thousands of dollars in capital.
But MIT just cut ties with them, which
I'm not surprised.
no, not at all. Suicide.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's what the world's come to, though. And
Dude,
one
will
day,
you explain this to me? Why is the internet not just all satellite?
what do you mean?
There's a fucking wire running down on the ocean floor.
Okay.
I just learned this today. There's a
Yeah.
wire running under the ocean floor for them to have internet connected from the United States across the Atlantic Ocean to Europe and all that.
So the reason we can't have satellite is because that wire connects to servers. So when you go to facebook.com, you may think you're just going to some cloud thing, like somehow this Facebook page comes up. Really what you're doing is you're connecting to another computer. That's all a server is another
Yeah.
computer, a powerful computer. So for you to go to facebook.com, you have to get connected to another server. And a satellite can't be like, you can't have thousands and millions of servers up in space. That's just not feasible. So therefore, we need connections on the ground.
Are they moving towards that? Because the satellite seems much more efficient.
No, I
It's
mean,
all based on signal
I'm pretty sure hardwired is the most efficient.
right now.
It's the
Right
fastest. Yeah,
now.
sure, there could be
So aren't they moving
technology.
towards that? That'd be just like Wi-Fi, just like hardwire. It used to be the way to get internet. It's the most efficient, but now it's not. It's
Well,
wireless.
no, what do you mean by efficiency? It's still the fastest. Hardwire is faster than Wi-Fi.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get 100% connection speed.
And when you're dealing with servers and you're dealing with thousands of users, you need the fastest.
Yeah.
You need
How
reliability.
thick do you think that wire is going under the ocean?
It's not just one, I'm sure.
Holy shit.
It's many fiber optic cables,
But
and I think the Russians are. I believe it's the Russians. They're doing some research into cutting that, like for wartime, like
what?
as like cyber attack, so we get disconnected through the internet.
Whoa. EMT.
Well,
Drop an EMT and cut the line. Uh-oh.
the EMP,
Sorry.
and yeah,
EMT.
well, EMP. That's just kind of
EMT, isn't that
that's like
is
a
that
paramedic.
ambulance?
It's a paramedic. Drop an EMT.
Drop a paramedic out of a plane.
No computers. Yeah, no, yeah, I mean, that could be, think about how devastating that can be. We take it for granted, but think about if our power grid went offline. There's no nukes. Well, we probably have some kind of like generator to back that up, but
Yeah.
overall, if someone dropped an EMP on our country and we lost our power grid, that would wreak havoc.
It would reap havoc,
Yeah.
wreak havoc.
Okay.
I know.
Okay there,
I
guy.
get it. I
I
get
don't
it.
know.
No, it's so it's super gnarly. But I don't. I think I'd be okay. Maybe grocery stores would be tough.
Yeah, if someone dropped an EMP on us, though,
There would be
there'd be
like
a lot more coming, I would
there would
feel.
be some yeah, and there would be some chaos going on too because you'd have like who are those like doomsday preppers?
Oh, they'd be coming out of the
They would
cracks.
be
They would be just so happy.
No, but dude, everybody would become a doomsday prepper.
Yeah.
Everyone would be starting to just stock their shit up and just
Yeah.
like, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. You just have chaos, anarchy.
Oh man,
Because I mean, the government's probably going to be wrapped up with the whole
who the fuck just
getting
dropped
back,
an EMP on
right,
us?
getting back online and all that.
Man, that's yeah. Cyber war is a real thing
But I'm
nowadays.
kind of curious, like the trenches and like when they ran that wire across the ocean, like they probably had to account for these giant trenches that are miles deep and just
Yeah, who knows how they did that? I would like to find a documentary on that.
yeah, like it's how did they account? Like they're just sitting there cranking as the boat drives across the ocean, just cranking like
Yeah, yeah, we're at 1,000. We're at 1,000 here.
because
I don't know,
I
man.
mean, what did the wire look like when it was all together above ground?
Thick, I'm sure.
And how long? I
It's
can't
crazy.
conceive of that. How long? Is it all together, or do they do it in pieces? I was talking about planning too much.
Planning
Yeah.
too much.
What do you think do you think there's a threshold there? Just finding balance on how much to plan things out?
I don't know. I think it's good to have a plan, but I also think it's very good to be adaptable.
You know what it is? You know, some people say, no plan. I'm just going to go with the flow, man. I'm just going to go with the flow. Just let life happen. Let life happen to me.
Yeah,
Right?
I don't think
And
that's
then
the
there's
best way either.
no, I don't think that's and I don't think having a rigid plan when things go haywire that you have to get back on track, back on track, back on track. You might miss what you're supposed to see. I think adapt and modify until you find that winning formula. Adapt and modify.
Yeah,
Adapt and modify.
you gotta.
But to have a plan to adapt and modify, you have to have a plan.
Yeah. You're not going to be effective or efficient without a plan, without incremental steps to get you to your goal.
Some
That's a
kind of
plan.
direction. Some kind of direction to adapt and modify.
Yep.
With no direction, you're just kind
Then
of floating around.
You got to be able to take a hit to the face too and get back on track. You know, you got to be adaptable.
I hate getting hit in the face. I hate it.
Figuratively.
Dude, I don't even
Figuratively.
think... Okay, I don't do the striking, right? We've talked about this. I don't like the striking not because of getting hit in the face. That wasn't, it made me
That's the
angry.
that's the easiest part, I think, of
Getting
like
hit in
Muay
the,
Thai.
yeah, getting hit in the face was like, it made me angry. It made me a little bit more aggressive in Muay Thai. It, like fired me up, like spark. It
Oh
hit a
yeah.
spark in me when I get,
Fight or flight. That
right,
it triggers it.
right. So I would go into that fight mode, but it was the footwork.
The little
I,
dance. Wait, you don't dance,
I
guy?
can't hack the footwork of the Muay Thai. It was just too much.
Oh man, striking, dude. I love
I
striking.
can't be methodical. So like I get like frustrated that I can't be
Yeah.
fluid,
Yeah. I
really.
mean,
It takes
it's
time. I
time.
know I
It's a
could do
time
it.
thing.
I know I could do it. It would just
Yeah.
take time, and for some reason I'm
It
more
takes
willing.
hours of shadow boxing in your kitchen while you're cooking breakfast.
Yeah, that's
That's what I.
strange. But I don't know why I decided to put that time not into striking but into jiu-jitsu instead.
I mean, it's the same reason that some people steer clear of it and put all their time into ultra marathon running. It's just interest.
There's so much. Oh, that was one thing. I was talking to my dad like a few days ago. There is so much research and studies done on ultra marathon running. It's such a huge thing right now. It's just a huge fad, like not a fad, but it's a huge like
It's starting to get a lot bigger.
interest. It's getting
Yeah.
huge, and people are really interested in how can I run 100 miles, like, and people are doing it, and people are getting better at it, and that's being studied heavily. And is that my question is that one of those things where you are so focused on performance that you neglect health?
Yeah, I mean, you're
Because
just totally focused on the challenge.
yeah, and getting there, and you kind of gonna start neglecting health. And I'm not saying this to say anything against marathon runners. Fucking, I was a wrestler. I did plenty of things that were not healthy
Oh yeah.
to be better at wrestling. Smashing my neck, smashing my head against the mat, just grinding. Doesn't matter if I'm feeling bad or hurt that day, just grind, grind.
Yeah.
Cutting weight. Don't even
Oh
get me
yeah.
started about cutting weight. That is so unhealthy, but you are doing whatever it takes to win. You do
Yep.
not care. So I think in a lot of regards, that ultramarathon running, it goes beyond health to a different
Yeah.
level that is
Goes
not
into
healthy.
the person's mind, the goals that they have.
Right.
Cameron Haynes, friend of Joe Rogan on that podcast a lot, talks a lot about he's running like 205 miles. He's done a lot of these ultras.
I can't figure out what his motive
He
is.
loves I think
It's
it's
the
two
hunting.
things. It's two things. I think he loves suffering, and so when he's feeling absolute shit on mile 187, he loves that. He's
Yeah.
spoken on that. And then it fits right into backcountry hunting,
Yeah.
because the despair and the awfulness you feel back in the backcountry when you're hunting, and you feel like you're never going to see an animal, you feel like you're never going to connect on this goal that you're working so hard for. You're just suffering. That's all it is. That's what backcountry hunting is a lot about. It's a ton of suffering with just a few minutes of excitement.
Moments.
Yeah, that's really what it is. But then you
You
get
get
to
the
reap the
meat.
benefits for a year
Yeah.
or how long. But I think that's what it is. Those
Don't
two.
snap that chapstick, dude.
I needed
It's
it.
annoying on the microphone.
But it's just the suffering, and he knows that suffering is going to help him do what he loves, which is backcountry bow hunting. And I see it because I've been in the backcountry. I've hiked in
Yeah.
miles to hunt with a bow. In
Now, bringing that full circle, you find that, Nate, what do you do for fun?
I have I put myself in very unfun situations.
Like, right?
That's literally my fun. Is I
Right.
get put in
And
uncomfortable situations.
that's different, but it's not because you're not alone. There's other people like that, and it's like, what do you find fun? What do you find to be fun? It's like I like to go out, I like to be with my friends, I like to
Yeah, I think it's the so I thought about that. I think it's the it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's the
tolerance or
no, I the hierarchy of things. I think immediate gratification is way lower on the totem pole than prolonged gratification. So like
yes,
taking a fight, it is a lot of unfun. Like
yes,
training camp is not fun. you're sacrificing a lot, but when it comes to fight time and you're fighting, you're like calm, and if you win, you're fucking ecstatic. So that's the excitement. You work
Yeah.
so hard for the excitement. Backcountry hunting, you're hiking in and you're climbing mountains with a heavy pack, and you're like, fuck, man,
It
this is hard.
sucks.
This
Yeah.
sucks. But then you connect on an animal with a bow in their home. That's probably it's even crazier than fighting, I'd say, is when when you take an animal with a bow back in the backcountry, that is gnarly.
Dude, it's like when you just walk up the hill with your bike and you just like, man, this is so far to get up the mountain. And you just send it down the fucking sickest line,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
And you just get so pitted, and the berm is launch, initiate off the cliffs.
Uh, yeah, so it's a hierarchy
Well, it's
thing.
kind of
It's
like
a
that,
hierarchy.
but hunting does sound a lot cooler than that. I like to ride my bike, dude.
Because then
But I
for a
am.
year after
No,
you
I'm not
get
making fun of bikers. I am
no,
like that.
yeah.
I am about that life.
Yeah.
But
But yeah, it's just I hold greater regard for prolonged gratification rather than immediate gratification. That's what makes it fun, is
mm,
that you have to work for it.
hmm
You can't just go out one night, take 7 shots, be drunk, and party with people because that's just immediate, you know? It could be fun, sure, but
instant
it's
gratification.
instant, yeah.
I think that's real. It's a false hope too, because I think social media plays into that. I think social media
Oh,
plays
big
into that
time.
big time when it
That's
comes to
immediate
immediate
people love
gratification.
that. Scrolling their timelines.
Ooh, I can see. I got the likes. I got the likes.
It's so mind-numbing.
And
It
yes,
makes us uncritical thinkers.
and I guess people who are listening to this are like, "Oh, this is Unity HP." Like, yeah, that's my Instagram. I'm trying to make that so it's basically sharing what I do, and I can just let it be.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I try to build awareness. I feel like if I can reach people, I can help people.
look, by shitting on social media like we just did for a second, that's by no means
It's a tool.
complete shitting on it. It's how you use
It's a
it.
tool.
That's
I
with
think
all
there's pros and
technology.
cons to it.
That's with all technology. It's how you use it. It's not what it is. It's how you use it.
Yeah, yeah. Someone was asking me the other day. They were like, "Why are you carrying a backpack? You're not going to school."
What?
I was
Someone said that to you?
yeah,
The fuck? It's a carrying device.
dude, I know. And they're like, and I was like, I don't know. I have books. I'm trying to be a professional. And they're like, professionals have briefcases.
Who
I was
is
like,
this?
dude, I'm not going to release that on the
Oh
podcast.
my God.
But businesses or professionals have briefcases. And I was just like, it doesn't matter what's in the toolbox. No, it doesn't matter what the toolbox looks like. It matters what's in the toolbox.
Yeah,
It
how you
matters how you
utilize it.
use the tools.
Not even what's in it, how you
Yeah,
utilize
how
the
do you
tools.
utilize your social media? How do you utilize your phone? Do you use it
Yeah,
to sit
man.
there and look at pictures, or do you use it to
Connect with
broadcast,
others.
connect with
Yeah.
people, share with others, um, obtain resources, obtain information? I mean,
Yeah,
you have
man.
literally the whole world
At your
at
fingertips.
your fingertips.
Imagine your parents. Man, they had to go flip through an encyclopedia, who knows how long that book was, to find information. If it wasn't in there, they were shit out of luck.
Or what about when you, well, this is kind of off topic, when you just left the house and nobody could get a hold of you?
Yeah,
You're just
right?
out in space. You're
Right?
just floating out into the abyss and Earth. You're
Oh,
just,
we lost Jimmy.
you know?
Jimmy left, we lost him.
Yeah, dude, it's just like you're
Uh,
just gone. They
yeah.
have no way of they can call your house. They didn't even have message machines like
Oh,
voicemail
yeah.
box. No voicemail.
Yeah.
Just gone.
Crazy stuff, man.
Let's talk about food.
Yeah, I've been getting nuts up in the kitchen lately. I've
Yeah.
been expanding my horizons.
How so? Pad Thai. It started with Pad Thai.
Started with some Thai food, and then I don't know, I got into like these
Curry.
yeah, some curry, but started eating avocados. I've never really eaten avocados, but I started making some spreads with them, like with jalapenos and some other peppers. And man, is it good? Put it on eggs.
It's a superfood.
Yeah, I didn't know that
Yeah.
until you told me.
It's because it has a really good fat profile.
Which
What?
superfood, yeah. What kind of profile does it have?
So basically, fat is the most efficient way to obtain calories. It has 9 calories per gram. Fat has 9 calories per gram of fat, right? Carbs have 4, proteins have 4. So you have more calories per unit, right? If you have a
Yeah.
gram of fat, you have a gram. Do you understand?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so you can get unsaturated fat from an avocado, and that's going to break down much quicker than a saturated fat would. Saturated fat comes from meats, right? It takes a really long time for your body to break that fat down. Saturated fat is solid at room temperature. What's weird about an avocado is it is solid, but you get unsaturated fat from it. Does that make sense? The only other way to get unsaturated fat is oils and nuts. And I'm sure there's
Well,
other ones that I'm
yeah.
missing, but avocado is a great way to do it because you get a lot of it.
Well, that's good because I've been on the avocado grind lately.
It all comes down to energy. It gives you good, good
Gotta
amount of
have the
energy,
energy.
a
Yep.
lot of energy, time and energy.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So why'd you want to talk about food? You got something on your mind?
well, I've been doing the same, trying to dial my diet in with the quinoa.
Oh yeah.
I'm doing quinoa and eggs. I broke up with potatoes. That's,
Really?
yeah, life update. I broke up with potatoes. My relationship with potatoes is over.
Really? Just you cut a food out for good? Like you don't mix shit in?
Well,
You
here's
don't
the
get
thing.
I
I don't
cycle.
vary. I don't vary
Yeah, that's
at all. I've been eating eggs and potatoes for the last 2.5 years,
yeah, you've
dude.
been going hard on that whole gig.
Right.
I
So,
can't do that, man.
so
I gotta cycle.
I'm at a turning point, and this is
Quinoa
a
for another
major,
2.5
this
years.
is a major turning point for me,
What will it be
because
next?
I don't stray from the path. Once I find a caloric intake, and amino acid profile and triglyceride profile that works for me, my schedule, my body, my timeline, my duration between meals. Once I find something that works, I stick with it, and I do not vary from it unless it's Friday and I might go out to eat or something. I
Might hit the
do.
Delft or something.
The Delph Bistro is prime time.
Yeah,
Um,
man, I don't know how you can do that. I need to vary my food intake. I could not eat potatoes. I couldn't eat rice just every day. I gotta cycle them. I mean, I stick to a
it's
group.
yeah,
I
but
stick to a
I'm
group.
sure you waste more time than I do trying to figure out what you're gonna eat.
No, no, not at all.
Yes.
I would highly disagree. I mean, I, it's a quick decision. I'm like looking at my category of my
You're
go-tos.
going through Google like, oh, what recipe can I figure out?
No, I did that for some Thai recipes, that curry and that pad Thai, but other than that, I
It's not a
totally
bad thing. I
offhand
think
it.
it's cool to get creative because those just become another part
Because
of,
those were good. You
yeah, but
can't even sit there and tell me that was
no,
not
amazing,
dank.
amazing. But those
Whew.
become part of your vocabulary. Like after that, after you cook it, you know the recipe, you can do it like that
Yep,
next
yep, I
time.
never go back to that recipe. I already know it.
Right. So in that light, I get it, and I think it's cool. But I don't have to think about it ever. I never have to think about what I'm gonna cook. It's
Yeah,
there. It's part of the routine.
yeah,
So it works for me. That's
yeah.
all I'm
Well,
saying.
you got to find something that works for you. That's the
Yeah.
biggest thing.
Yeah. So avocado quinoa, and then the smoked fish, dude. Holy
Smoked,
shit.
yeah, man, I was munching on that last night. That was super good.
I've been doing
And the
this,
venison.
dude. I highly recommend smoked fish to anybody who likes fish. You have to like fish quite a bit because it's super fishy,
Yeah.
but you don't have to cook it. It's already cooked
Oh,
all
it's
the way
so
through.
efficient.
You can take it wherever you need. Just throw it in the fridge, pull it out whenever you need. Take it for lunch, put it on crackers, put it on cheese. I'm not recommending cheese and crackers though. I usually eat it with
Wait, what'd you say?
hummus, carrots, and broccoli, and mix it up.
Yes, I love fish. I love fish.
I don't. I
Seafood
see.
in general,
I
really.
love fish, but I don't love to fish, and I get a lot of shit for that. People always ask me like, "You hunt or fish?" No, and I always just go to I can't sit still.
Yeah,
I can't sit still.
that's what I love about like out west backcountry hunting. You still got to be still, but it
Right.
takes a lot more effort.
Yeah.
Takes a
I feel
lot
like
more.
it's totally different than what you might think of sitting in a stand drinking beers waiting
Yeah.
for a deer to walk by.
Oh
It's
yeah.
not that at all.
Yeah. It's
And
a
I
lot
think when
different.
people think of hunters, I think that's a lot of times what they may think.
That's, I would say, a vast
It's
majority.
the
That's immediately what
stereotypical,
they go to.
yeah,
Pulling up in a truck, walking point 0.2 miles with a beer in your hand.
six pack.
Six pack, yeah. What am I saying? One beer?
Yeah.
It's gonna last you 30 minutes.
Yeah.
No, but man, it's 7:30. We got a couple moves to hit tonight, not just the move. We gotta say hello to Mason
Should we
over at the tap
we
room.
should oh man, I don't know if I want people out there knowing my location. But for real, the Sunday move can't go wrong. Acoustic brunch at the Marquette Food Co-op. noon to 2, right? Get your shit done in between, late afternoon, beautiful sunny day today.
Yeah.
And then about 8 o'clock,
Seven.
stop by, what is it? The Iron Bay,
Iron Bay
the
Tap
tap
Room.
room. They have 24 craft beers on tap. Good food, jazz music.
Yep. Jazz. Our good friend Mason's there. Good friend, I mean.
Mason's a good dude.
Yeah, he's a
I
real
think,
good dude.
I don't know if he's a good friend.
He's not a good friend, but he's awesome, dude. I mean,
I think he's cool. I don't know if he's there just to, or if he's so nice to us, so we keep coming back. Because like
yeah,
at this
right.
point, we're not going there to be at Iron Bay. We're going there to say hello to
Yeah,
Mason. It's like, oh,
exactly.
we got to go see Mason. It's like
He gets a little disappointed when we miss the Sunday.
at least he acts like it.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know
Sure he
if
is.
that's
I'm
a
sure we spice up his Sunday a little bit, dealing with some crazy folks from the stories told us.
yeah, but we haven't missed him. I mean,
It's been a
since
while.
winter.
Yeah.
It's still winter.
Yeah, we should probably hit that. It's going on 7:40. The Jazz at Zephyr stops at 9.
And with that, we'll wrap it up, man. Thanks for being here. Until next time, guys. Ride the waves, dude.